As the war intensifies in Ukraine, Joe Biden seems to be getting involved even more, and we have some breaking news to share with you. But before I get into it, don't forget to subscribe, and also hit the like button. Now let us get into this article about this situation, and it reads, Joe Biden announces new sanctions against Russia, and deploys 7,000 U.S. troops to Germany after Ukraine invasion. The U.S. president said the sanctions the U.S. was imposing today aim to maximize long-term impact on Russia, while minimizing the impact on allies. President Joe Biden has announced a new wave of sanctions against Russia, and said the U.S. is deploying additional forces to Germany, to bolster NATO in the face of naked aggression from President Vladimir Putin. Speaking during a press conference at the White House, the U.S. president said freedom will prevail after Mr. Putin chose this war. President Biden said the sanctions the U.S. was imposing today aim to maximize long-term impact on Russia, while minimizing the impact on allies. Explosions near major Ukrainian cities, including the capital Kiev. He made clear that American troops would not fight in Ukraine, but the U.S. would help defend every inch of NATO territory, as he authorized additional U.S. forces to Germany. A U.S. defense official later confirmed that the U.S. will send 7,000 troops to Germany to help reassure NATO allies who are part of a larger contingent that had already been put on alert earlier this year. The troops would be made up of an armored brigade combat team and would leave for Germany in the coming days, the official added. Mr. Biden confirmed that NATO will convene a summit tomorrow with the leaders of 20 allied nations and close partners. This will affirm our solidarity and map out the next steps we'll take to further strengthen all aspects of our NATO alliance. The U.S. president said strong limitations will be imposed on what can be exported from the U.S. to Russia, which will hammer its access to global exports of everything from commercial electronics and computers to semiconductors and aircraft parts. He said, this is going to impose a severe cost on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time. We have purposefully designed these sanctions to maximize a long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies. I want to be clear, the United States is not doing this alone. For months we've been building a coalition of partners representing well more than half the global economy. Mr. Biden said the U.S. will hinder the ability of Russians to finance and grow the Russian military, and reduce their ability to compete in a high-tech 21st century economy. He added, we have now sanctioned Russian banks that together hold around $1 trillion in assets. We've cut off Russia's largest bank, a bank that holds more than 1/3 of Russia's banking assets by itself. We cut it off from the U.S. financial system. And today we're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen. This includes VTB, the second largest bank in Russia, which has $250 billion in assets. As promised, we're also adding names to the list of Russian elites and their family members that we're sanctioning as well. He explained that these are people who personally gain from the Kremlin's policies. Some of the most powerful impacts of our actions will come over time, he said. Between our actions and those of our allies and partners, we estimate that we'll cut off more than half of Russia's high-tech imports. The U.S. president said he estimates the sanctions will cut off more than half of Russia's high-tech imports after previously promising swift and severe costs if Russian forces moved into Ukraine. He said Putin will be a pariah on the world stage after the Russian president authorized a flagrant violation of international law. For weeks, we have been warning that this would happen, and now it's unfolding largely as we predicted, the president said. But Mr. Biden warned Putin's aggression would cost Russia dearly and that NATO is more united than ever. Concluding his statement, he said, America stands up to bullies. We stand up for freedom. This is who we are. Mr. Biden announced the first wave of U.S. sanctions against Russia in retaliation for Moscow's actions in Ukraine on Tuesday. He said the penalties would be slapped on Russian banks, oligarchs, and the country's sovereign debt. He told reporters that Russian troops being ordered to eastern Ukraine after Vladimir Putin recognized the independence of 2 separatist regions marked the beginning of an invasion. The sanctions targeted Russia's VTB and the country's military bank, Pромsvyazbank, which does defense deals, and were also applied to Russia's sovereign debt. So the question of the day is, how does everyone feels about Joe Biden backing up his words? It seems like Putin doesn't scare him with the threats he sent, saying any country that tries to stop Russian action will basically be sorry. Well, I just hope no lives are lost. And we also know it is very hard to get out of Ukraine because everything is basically shut down, from the air to the seas. But this turn of events will also affect oil prices in a lot of countries. Gas prices, among other things. But like I said, let me know how you feel about this, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, peace.